Hopefully this lasts long enough. As usual, I'm gonna go to Chambers of Commerce and see if I can track down some more stuff. See what they have to say. I'm actually gonna try to do a FOIA request, but this town and this county just got things all over the place. Let's see what happens. Hello? I guess I need to stop here, huh?
Come on around. How are you?
Well, I woke up this morning. Come find out I haven't become a ghost yet. So I'm pretty happy right now.
Yes. How can I help you?
Well, I don't know if you can,
Okay.
but I got to start from somewhere. And guess what? I picked you.
I'll see what I can do to point you in the right direction or help you out.
Well, I moved from Odessa to in this county here.
Okay.
I moved here in Clyde. However, Odessa is 100% different than here. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm in a learning process,
Okay.
and I need to learn where I can do records request.
That's gonna be at the courthouse
Baird?
in Baird. Yes, sir.
Of course, I forgot to ask that question while I was there earlier.
Yes, sir. That's where you're gonna have to
Oh
go.
my goodness. Are you trying to kill me right now?
What type of records are you requesting?
Well, more along the lines it could be at different times, but in this case, I may want to try to get a records request, and I don't know if they can do it or not because this is the first time
Okay.
doing this one. But I was wanting to see if I can get. Let me explain this easy. I want to get some type of paperwork for the Republican side of asking the running sheriffs the questions. I want to know what questions they're asking them.
Oh, we had a sheriff's forum at the beginning of January.
Yeah, knew about that.
And
Yeah, the mess came up.
then everything went to heck in a handbasket, and
Yeah.
we've just kind of we've walked away from it.
Yeah.
Um,
You step back.
Yes, because
Well, because it does go in a tricky situation.
yeah, it ran into a very tricky situation.
Yeah. And since Callahan has got very little money,
Yep.
it would cost too much money to vote. What we're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
However, when you look on our side of it, that just robbed us to pick who.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
right now there's not anybody.
Yeah.
that
Well,
we-
there's been some people running on the Republican side. As far as I know, nothing on the Democratic side. And
I've heard about some people, but I don't know that if they're on a ballot yet or anything like that. They have, as far as I know, they have not held any forums to ask to meet with people, to have people ask them any questions that they're concerned about with our county. As far as I know, they have not done any of that. Kind of like what we did here, the forum we had here
Yeah.
in January,
yeah,
They got asked questions, we were kind of able to feel people out
Yep.
and everything else, and everybody kind of, I could safely say probably 80% of the people in attendance knew who they were voting for when they left. Little did we know what would come up later.
well,
We did-
and the funny thing is, both of them didn't really have to retire. I mean, what they did was not a criminal offense. It's a
Well-
Class C ticket. Now, what they did is lied.
Well, with Rick,
Yep.
he kind of was in a crosshairs.
Yeah. Well, he had an
Because
affair.
he went AWOL. He had AWOL charges against him. And according to the law, as far as I know, if you go AWOL from the military, you are not supposed to be in the position of an police figure at all. So,
Well, I can kind of see that,
yeah,
but legally
yeah,
and constitutionally, that's not the case.
yeah,
All right, mainly because it's actually just a Class C misdemeanor that hasn't risen to a crime, even though what he did is wrong, and yeah, he should
Yeah.
not have done it.
and Foley pulled out of here, but he's already working in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I automatically knew he was going to move somewhere.
Yeah, I knew he was going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Because when everything came to light, I was like, oh wow.
well, and you know, and I could kind of understand it. You know, it was kind of embarrassing, and you know,
Yeah.
it was time for him to get away. Small town, small county. You know,
Mhm.
everybody was gonna know about it,
Yep.
and he just, you know, like,
Yep.
should have done it the right way and took off.
Yeah.
You know,
And anything he was accused of was stolen valor, though.
yeah,
So if he wouldn't have said he had the awards that he did not have,
yeah.
he would have been fine.
Well, and again, the only way you cannot enter is because you had to be convicted of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
But both of them was actually a misdemeanor ticket. If they paid the ticket, they legally could still run.
Yeah.
Most people don't know it, but I dig deep in things like this
Yeah.
because I really want to know.
Yeah. Well, it was,
But-
you know.
You know, and the district attorney here, you know, kind of pushed everybody out like, you guys, you know, this is embarrassing. You guys need to leave
Well,
and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. So, but the district
It
attorney
was-
never told him it was, you know, it was illegal. I mean, to run. They just kind of pushed him off instead of letting them proceed forward if they wanted to.
Yeah. It turned into be
A mess.
pretty ugly situation real quick. I mean, we got quite a few calls here. You know, what can I do with my sign? What can I do with this? And I'm like, legally, this is what you can do. And, you know, and I'm like, I'm not responsible for this.
Yeah.
You need to be contacting,
Yeah, it gets.
that's not my,
And this is not everyday thing, you know. You don't usually have two of them
no.
at the same time.
Yes, yes. It was bad.
It was,
It was
you know,
very
because
bad.
I was actually here during the deal when they talked about it, and then when
Okay.
they got done, I asked them both questions, and of course, me being a Constitution guy anyway, I had to ask them trick questions.
Of course, I don't blame you. Not at all. I mean,
As a matter of
we
fact,
had
I just did one a couple of days ago with a new sheriff that we have in town
Mhm.
that just showed up 4 months ago, and tricked him questions, but he passed.
Hey, there you
I'm
go.
like, well, why aren't you running? Well, because I haven't been really in the county long enough. Matter of fact, I don't even live here yet. I'm in the process of moving here. I was like, oh.
Yeah, right? Darn it.
And so, all right, well, I expect I see your name on the next ballot
No, right?
because he was right on cue of the Constitution. I was like, holy mackerel, I never come across a sheriff that actually knew this much of the Constitution. So I was impressed, and it takes a lot to impress me.
I'm sure. I am sure.
You know, because I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I would vote for either one.
Yes. Yeah.
However, you're going to be within the guidelines of the Constitution. And if you're not in the guidelines of the Constitution, you need to go.
Mhm. I agree with you completely.
You know, and I shouldn't do it, I guess, in our terms, but I challenge them. When they pull me over, okay, what part of the Constitution do you have authority to pull me over? It's the law. Okay, and what's the authority of the Constitution? You have a right to pull me over. I understand law. We're not talking about law. We're talking about Constitution. Well, I'm talking about law. No, that's not the question. The question is, what authority? They don't like you challenging on the Constitution.
No, they don't. They don't at all.
Are you a sovereign citizen? No, you are. Quit throwing y'all stuff on me. I'm a constitutionalist. I just explained this to you. You're the sovereign citizen.
Yep. Yep. Good luck. Because some of them just.
Yeah, they get mad when you flip that sovereign citizen on them.
Mm-hmm.
Which, technically, by their definition of sovereign citizens, They are the sovereign citizen.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
By their definition, they're doing exactly what they're blaming everybody else for doing.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah.
There's actually 3 sovereign citizen deals, groups. There's 3 different definitions. It depends on the words you use. Everything's by words in law.
Yep.
Right? Sovereign citizen is, they claim that you do not go by the government law. Okay? Sovereign public citizen is that you don't belong to no country.
Okay.
All right? The Constitution citizen is a sovereign man with a conscience. Okay? So a sovereign man is like, I have the freedom to do as I wish, as long as I don't harm nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, most people know this. So, when you're speeding down the road, 80 mile an hour, and you're in a 65 mile an hour zone, most people say, I'm speeding. Okay? However, did I harm anybody?
No.
So how can I be convicted of something when I have not harmed nothing? Which means crime. People's gotten used to the idea that everything's become a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Your speeding ticket is legally on paper as a crime.
Mm-hmm.
However, legally the definition in federal law, constitutional law, and regular law is when you harm somebody. So how is that speeding ticket a crime if you have not harmed nobody?
That's a good point. Very good point.
It's one of the tricky situations. Okay, let me go through another process. You're a jury,
Okay.
okay? So, I'm going to represent myself in court, okay? Now, the law is, and it's figures, okay? That I cannot wear a blue shirt on Tuesday, okay? In Callahan.
Okay.
Or here,
Yeah.
okay? So, legally, I'm not allowed to wear a blue shirt on Tuesday, right? However, I forgot about it. I wore a blue shirt on Tuesday, okay? They gave me a ticket. Well, I decided to fight it. Now you got to decide whether I'm guilty or innocent. What am I?
Innocent.
And why is that?
Because it did not harm anybody.
Well, close. But the true definition of the reason why I'm innocent is because that law should not exist in the first place. It's unconstitutional.
Yep, that too. That's what I was thinking that too. I'm like, because he didn't harm anybody, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, because they can't tell you. Just
Right.
like this whole masks, no masks, all this,
Yeah, don't even get me started on that because I also understand the Constitution.
Yep.
And Article 1, Section 9, Chapter 2 explains the only time you can even do this.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you can do it, it's within sections.
Yeah.
Okay? But this virus thing, you got to figure our founding fathers lived in the virus times.
Yep.
They've lost family in virus. They never put it in the Constitution because it still restricted our rights. We cannot give the government that much power.
Yep. And here we are letting them do it.
Here we are letting them do it.
I mean, I choose to wear one in certain situations.
Yeah.
I have a daughter who is pregnant with my first grandchild,
Mm-hmm.
and she has been very sick during her pregnancies. So I choose that when I'm in a certain environment that there are a bunch of people around
Yeah.
that I am going to wear one because I want to, number one, not go to her house and
Right.
hurt her.
Pick
I
it.
also want to
Chase
make
it.
sure that I keep myself healthy so that when my grandson is born, I'm not exposing him to something.
Yeah.
I'm not exposing my brand new grandson to something
Well, see, and the funny thing is, when I was in the oil field, we had to go through a bunch of testings and this, that, here and there, and they had to explain all these things. So they actually taught us on some of the masks that we carry, or we had to use because of the air deal, the quality there. They actually told us that we're going to have less oxygen wearing the mask. So once you start getting headaches and this, that, here and there, you should leave. And that's actually a time frame because you are so less of oxygen.
Yep.
It's not because the poison's getting in, it's because your oxygen in your body level is so low.
Yep.
So they say, 15 minutes, get out. And that's not because of the poison in the air, it's because your oxygen level is so far down. And that even go with the mask that we use now. Anytime that you have any restrictions, your oxygen level goes down. So I understand the mask in certain parts, but we need to keep it into a maintained level to keep our oxygen up so we don't get the virus too.
Exactly.
Less oxygen in your body, easy to...
We're very careful. We try not to go...
one stream to the other stream.
Well, and, if we have to go, like, to a grocery store or something like that, we're choosing to not go to Abilene for our groceries.
Yeah.
We're choosing to stay in this area. We're being cautious because it's like I told my middle daughter, I have 3 kids, and I told her, I said, just like I understand you want to go back to school, and I want you to go back to school. I want you to enjoy your senior year or your junior year. She's a junior this year. My other daughter just graduated. But I told her, I said, but do you want to be able to see your nephew?
Yeah.
And she said yes. And I said, okay, then this is the precaution that we have to take, because I can't say it is, it isn't.
Right.
Everything else, I'm not in that field. That's not my
Right, that's not your
expertise.
forte.
So therefore, I am saying this is what we have to do to protect Destiny and Levi, so that when he gets here and they leave the hospital, I've already had to come to terms. I can't be at the hospital with her because they only allow Dad to go in. I've already had to come to that term. I'm not going to come to the terms of I can't see this baby until he's like 3 months old because you went to school, brought it home, and now each one of us have to test negative before we can see the baby.
Yeah. But see,
I'm not okay with that.
I don't go by one guidelines either. When I decide to study something, I want to see what the whole thing is. Let's just say these riots going on. All right. So I didn't stick with Fox News. I watched Fox News, CNN, NBC, but I also checked on YouTube the people recording it too.
Yes.
And the more I looked at things like this on YouTube anyway, it seems like YouTube is actually putting out more accurate news. Nothing against Fox.
Nope.
Well, a lot
But
against CNN.
They're very selective.
Yeah, I do not like CNN.
I'm not a fan either. No. Now, back
I mean, you
back
had
in
to,
the
you had
early
to.
80s and 90s, they were one of the best news sources you had, and you saw both
Well,
sides.
and the funny thing is, back in the day, young fella, I was working, and I don't know why, but I was just tired of listening to music, so I flipped channels, and I came across the guy called Rush Limbaugh, and I happened to just sit there and listen to him, and they talked about how, they explained the black community and all that kind of stuff, which everything he was saying was true, all right? And he wasn't being racist or nothing. He was just talking about their lifestyle and, the difference between their lifestyle and the white people, and the Mexican lifestyle and all that. Everything had to revolve around lifestyle, but it had nothing to do with race. It was just a lifestyle. And CNN, later on, and at the time I was a Democrat. Full-fledged Democrat, okay?
Yeah.
I watched CNN and really just completely lied about this. And Fox News didn't exist then.
No.
And I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
Yep. my grandfather used to watch Fox News, and you could tell when something got a bee going on with him, because it'd be, well, for crying out loud, or you gotta be kidding me. I mean, and I would just, but that's the news station that was around at that time.
Yeah.
There wasn't the variety that we have now.
Yeah.
But now we get so many different stories, and all the lies and the smeared truth and everything else, that you don't know what to believe. You don't know what's actually accurate. And then you get online and you try to research it, and it's still
accurate.
Yeah. The CDC can't tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Nobody can. Nobody can tell you the truth.
You know, overseas in other countries, their kids are back in school. And we have the highest rate. But yet their kids are the ones that are in school.
Yep.
So what's wrong with the two pictures? Oh, but they're not telling you everything. Really? Is it they not telling us everything? Or are you guys full of crap? To convince us.
Yep.
You know, because I'm a firm believer. I heard just a couple of days ago, actually, I was in the store. And I heard a couple of employees talking about how their store is actually in the process of not accepting no more cash. I didn't know that.
I've heard that quite a bit.
Really? I didn't know it. I actually came across it when I was in the store.
It's very big in Lubbock.
Is it?
Yes. Lubbock is, there's a lot of places talking about it up there. We just moved my mom from there this past weekend, and it was...
Yeah, thank you, Bill Gates. The one person that's being kicked out of a couple of different countries. And not allowed to come back.
So many people thought that, he's a genius, he's this.
Well, he's a genius. Look what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's got everybody convinced to do these things.
I think he might be the freaking Antichrist, because, he's a strange apple.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Oh, well, he sees money signs.
Yep.
And he don't need no more money, but he sees money signs. So he's talking about, he already put it on news, about everybody getting a chip. Really?
Over my dead body.
Yeah.
I will tell you now.
I'm not getting a chip.
No.
And it may not even be so much of the Antichrist or anything. It's just in general that tell me I got to do it.
Yeah.
It bothers me. Because, I understand the book and the Bible and all this kind of stuff. But still, am I 100% sure about that? No.
Yeah.
So I still got to go into, wait a minute, why would I want to do this?
Yep.
And I told people years ago, actually, many, many years ago, when they started putting chips in dogs, they're testing it. They're going to put that in us. They're using animals to test it and clean it up and be able to put more stuff in there and more accurate stuff. Oh, no.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I know all about those chips. They're a mess.
Yeah, there you are.
And they're going to be a mess.
Yep. And the only good thing is, since we brought this Antichrist thing up, in the Bible does say that God said that everybody's going to start opening their eyes and see what's going on around them. Now we know the government's been full of crap to us, and people are starting to wake up. The protests with the cops and all this kind of stuff. Okay, am I 100% against cops? No.
No.
I am 100% against cops that's not going by the Constitution.
Yes.
That's where I'm having a problem with.
I mean, I support a good cop any day, and a cop that knows the Constitution, the laws, and everything else.
Yeah.
My stepdad was a police officer for a number of years, and he was an amazing police officer, and he was a good police officer. So and he knew his stuff.
And there's that balance in there. I mean, you got really good police officers, but also, and it seems like more now than ever, that the crooked officers is overpowering the good officers. Well, I seen on the internet a couple of months ago, or maybe a month ago, that an officer actually went and said, hey, this is getting out of hand. We're pulling people over, and we're doing this, and we're doing that against their Constitution. 3 days later, he was fired.
Yeah.
So he plainly told everybody that what they're doing is unconstitutional, and they could not have him on the force. So what does that tell you? They're doing things unconstitutional, and they want to keep it that way.
Yep. Yep. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that is where
And
we are at.
And that's the reason why I'm very heavy on the sheriffs and what they know. Because, most people don't know this, and you may not know this, but the sheriff is the highest authority in the county. Mm-hmm. The sheriff can come down today and go arrest that judge or the mayor. Mm-hmm. Most people don't know this. Most sheriffs don't even know that.
Yep, and the current sheriff we have, I don't have confidence in him.
I like him. Me and him actually sat and studied talked and had a cup of coffee at the jailhouse there, because I was more curious about him,
Yeah.
and he's retiring and all that, and see how he wanted to play out and all that kind of stuff. So, to me, he was a 50-50 guy. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yep.
But from Odessa, they was in 10% range.
Yeah.
So, for me, looking at him and what he knows and what the people, sheriffs in Odessa knew, that was, 40% up climb for me,
Yeah.
That being said, what are we going to know about the next sheriff?
Yeah.
I know there's a couple of DPS running. Who's going to be running for sheriff. But sheriff is way different than DPS.
Yes.
Way different.
Yes, it is.
And do I want him to have this much power against me instead of against the judges or mayors? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because he's going to be on the judges and mayor's side.
Yep.
No matter what.
9 times out of 10.
Yep.
Yes, they are.
Because he's going to go by law.
Yep.
Not lawful, but law.
Yep.
Sheriffs are supposed to go by lawful Constitution.
That'll be interesting to see how
And that's the reason why I wanted to see about the see if I can get a FOIA request of questions. Because what questions are they asking, making their decisions on?
Yeah.
Are they going actually by law? Or are they going by Constitution questions?
Our questions here, I don't even know if I have a copy of them. I think I might. They were submitted by the public. They were not questions that I chose or anything, and it was not. And it wasn't.
Yeah, and I'd like to know what survey did they take to even get these questions? Or what was the questions for the people to answer the questions with?
We just had the sheriff forum that they put on the Facebook, announced that we were having that and that we were wanting questions submitted. We had questions that were submitted were supposed to be, we could ask both candidates.
Right.
That was not that way. We either had it attacking one candidate or the other, so it really became a tedious task for us.
A mind meltdown?
And this
Trickery of law.
This was my first
Didn't think about it.
when I took the office. I had only been in office right before Christmas. I was training, and then that was my first day at work was the forum.
Oh!
So it was like, well, here you go, trial by fire.
Boy, they nailed you hard, didn't they? Bam!
Yeah, and then look how it turned out. I was not very happy. The questions we were allowed to ask are, what qualifications for the position of, what are your qualifications qualifications for the position of sheriff and why do you want the job? What do you believe your responsibilities are if you are elected?
Hey, you want to hear my answers when you ask these questions? Just be curious.
Go ahead and answer that one.
All right, let's go with the first question again.
What are your qualifications for the position of sheriff and why do you want this job?
I study the true contents of the Constitution for everybody's freedom. And I follow the Constitution before I follow law. If it does not blend together, then I choose the Constitution over law.
What do you believe your responsibilities are if you are elected?
My responsibility is protect the people from any outside forces. Whether bad guys, whether it's government officials, whether it's judges. If there's anybody committing any type of harm upon you, I'm to go after them.
There is definitely, other than your job, what are you involved in? Boards have you sat on? What other ways do you serve in our county?
I don't serve any part of the county. My main job is going to be the job that I'm doing and running for now. And I want to make sure it runs as smoothly as possible, which is going to take all my time.
What is your stance on getting a new county jail?
It depends on how much donation you want to put in. I don't want to tax you. But if you want a new jail, let's figure out a way to get donations and build that jail. If you don't want a new jail, do you want to pay more taxes? Y'all decide. Because once they add taxes to you, they're going to keep it.
Uh-huh.
And when the jail's done, they're still going to keep it. So why don't we actually do funding, build a new jail, and when that jail's done, you get to keep the money. The rest of your money.
Yeah. What is the number one thing that you believe needs to be addressed, and what are your plans to deal with the situation?
Now to remind you, I've only been here 8 months, okay? But number one address we need to do is all my officers underneath me is going to re-study the Constitution. And anytime that we are engaged with the public, to be mindful of the Constitution so we don't cause harm to them and their loved ones.
What do you think you can do differently than the prior sheriff if elected?
Everything.
Many small communities within Callahan County are known to contain drug users and small volume traffickers. In cooperation with local law enforcement, what new specific steps would you propose to combat illicit drug use and sales?
That is a tricky one.
Yes.
Okay, so I still go by liberty and Constitution, Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So the Bill of Rights is our freedom. The Constitution is for the government not to cross over. So let me be specific about this. What they do in their own house is their business. It's none of the law enforcement's business. It's none of the government's business. It's their business. As long as they do not commit harm to any others. If they go out and steal and get the money for their drugs, then I'm to arrest them for causing harm to someone else. But while they're causing harm to themselves, I'm not responsible for them. They can kill themselves. Or if we need to seize the money, still under commerce. They have a business. Now, do we think it's legal or not legal? Who do we decide on that? Who's the government to decide on that?
Yeah.
It's a business. I understand pandemics, drug addicts, this, that, here, and there. However, we cannot go against our Constitution for a few bad apples. If they want help, we'll produce help.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as they do it in the privacy of their own domain, I have no problem with what they do. Just keep it where they're at and do not commit harm on anybody else.
Hi! Would getting tougher on drug use and sales require more budget monies, in your opinion?
The budget, what we'd have to do, and once again, been here 8 months, I don't even know what the budgets are. We're just going to have to go by the guidelines of the budget we have. As you know, if we can hold 100 people in prison or jail for breaking in houses, we got to make sure the budget's within guidelines that are taking care of them under the 8th Amendment.
Yeah.
So, majority of that. But the budget, what do they set for us? We're going to have to stay in the maintain level. If we need it, means we're going to uprate the taxes on you. You decide whether you want to pay the extra taxes. Or you decide to donate X amount of budgets for us to proceed forward.
Yeah.
So we're going back into, they decide this.
Yeah.
Not the government. They decide this.
How will you work with the county attorney to improve on enforcement and further toughen our stance on individuals who violate drug laws?
Oh boy.
Loaded.
Yeah. Because me and the Attorney General is not going to see eye to eye.
Here, child. I'm not going to throw him over there.
And if he gets out of hand, I may have to arrest him.
Right.
But I will work for him within.
No, it's in the middle where the radio is. Okay.
I will work with him within the confines of the Constitution and the liberty. If he wants to step out of the liberty, he's on his own.
Yeah. And then, what is your position on using technology such as body cameras, dash cameras, and computer programs such as CopSync for law enforcement?
All right. That's very important too. That was actually a good question. All right. I'm a firm believer that they should have body cams. However, it's going to be a major crime if they delete any of it while you have the person or persons in custody. No mute, no deletion. It's to be on from the beginning to the very end.
Yeah.
On the body cam.
Yep.
If it's been deleted or muted, you are going to be brought on charges of tampering with evidence.
Sounds fair.
Instantly. And I will personally, if I was the sheriff, I would personally arrest my officer for tampering with evidence. Or any other ones here.
Yep.
And judges and lawyers. If they tamper with that evidence, you're going to be arrested.
And they need to be.
Yes.
Because that is your protection.
Mm-hmm.
And if you choose not to have that protection,
Yep.
there's a problem.
Yeah. And it's going to be within the guidelines of the law that you just lost your qualified immunity by doing
Yeah. Pretty much. Yep, I agree completely. Those are the questions that we had submitted that weren't directed. I mean, we had so many directed fully, this.
Out of curiosity,
this.
if I was running for sheriff, which I thought about actually running, what did you think of the answers I gave?
They were good answers. They were good answers.
And I know a little bit something about, you may not believe totally everything that I said, but that being said, I was also always within the guidelines of the Constitution.
Yep.
So how do we reel in back our Constitution? We got to take it back.
Yep.
So
Got to.
you're going to lose something.
Mm-hmm.
These people's got freedom. These people got freedom. These people over here are not allowed to impede on these people's freedom. So if they're wanting to do drugs, they have no say. You're not impede on their freedom. Now, if these people come over here, takes from you, they lost their freedom.
Yep. Yep. And that one's,
Catchy one on you?
well, yeah, because of the fact of it is a problem.
Yeah.
And it does spread to so many others.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm raising a grandbaby because he almost died of the mother always on drugs and didn't eat properly, and he never got the nutrition. So we had to go in there and tell, let's go with daughter-in-law. They weren't married. I had to tell the daughter-in-law and my son, you guys can't do this. However, I'm a constitutional guy. This is what we're going to do. You are the father. You are the mother. If you take the child, which you have every right to, it is your child. You're going to lose it. Now, if you guys are going to be at least halfway responsible, you sign the papers I have right here, right now, and your child has a chance to survive. Which one are you going to go with? They signed the papers, gave us custody of the baby, and we have him to this day.
Yep.
And he's blind.
Yep.
One eye is bigger than the other and all that kind of stuff. And
Poor baby.
yeah. But he was released from the hospital to let us know to prepare for the funeral because we're not going to take care of him here for a dying baby. So just be a parent and all that. He's almost 2 years old. And thriving.
Yep. And that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, the drugs.
And everybody that comes across him just loves him to death because he's got this particular smile. Okay, I love all my grandbabies, all right?
Oh, yeah.
I do. But he's my favorite. And I'm allowed to have favorites.
Yep. Grandpas are. Moms and dads can't.
I disagree. I tell my kids, no, I got a favorite. I'm not going to say which one it is, but I do have a favorite. I love you guys all the same. But which one of you guys respect me the most is my favorite.
Yeah.
Look in the Bible.
See that?
Did they not have favorite sons?
Yes, they did.
So tell me, where's the sin on that? There's not.
There's not. Nope. My children always try to pull me into that. Destiny's your favorite. The baby's your favorite. Well, my baby turned 13.
Well, my
today,
daughter's
so
my favorite.
No.
Because she treated me with more respect, right?
Yeah.
So when I tell them, well, which one do you respect me the most? Well, they already know.
Yeah. They know.
Brittany's your favorite. Well, yeah. But I'm also one of them type of guys that don't lie
Yeah.
to my kids, you know?
Yeah.
I don't. I cannot lie to them and throw them in the world. I mean, this is what's going on right now. Is the parents are lying to the kids and they've been thrown out of the world, and now everything's owed to them.
No.
My kids, both my boys was on drugs and pretty heavily. That I knew that I was going to bury one. Okay, if they didn't clean up. However, they was above the age. I can tell them.
Yeah.
But the only thing I said is, and like I told you a second ago, you have the right to do it. It is your body. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to miss you. But there is no guilt whatsoever on my behalf that you died. I did everything I could. You decided. Not me. You decided.
Yep.
This is all on you. And my conscience is clear.
Yep.
But I'm going to love you and I'm going to miss you.
Yep. That's a hard thing to have to say
Yeah.
to them. But
So, and again, like you said, it gets tricky because, and that's where we have to define everything, because everything we do has consequences. And like I told my kids, everything you do in life is consequences. You got good consequences, but it's still a consequence. You got bad consequences, but it's still a consequence.
Yep.
So everything you do has a consequence.
Yes.
So, number one, so my major problem on anything on this anyway is war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, when you say war, they go into martial law effects. So everything they do with about the war on drugs, the no search warrant, or no knock warrants, that's martial law. Okay, it's unconstitutional, 100%. All right, they cannot and should not do it, and it should be illegal. And the officers who are doing it should go to prison. They're breaking in people's houses unlawfully.
Okay. I have somebody in my office. Sorry, that was my son. He went with my mother to Lubbock today while she closed on her house, and he was letting me know they're fixing to get on the road.
So I understand your
Yeah.
part on that, but if we sacrifice any part of our Constitution, then we just keep sacrificing our Constitution, and that's where we're at today. We kept on sacrificing our Constitution.
Yes, we did.
Over people that had a right to decide what they're going to do in their own domain. Drug dealers and all that making money. That's commerce. The people decide to buy it. No drug dealers if the people don't buy.
Yep.
They'll go broke.
Yep. And that'd be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it would be. Because like I said, I've had kids in drugs. I don't like drugs. But if I'm going to sacrifice my if we all pass a law that's unconstitutional upon them, then what good is the Constitution?
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22.
Yes, it is.
But what we're doing now is 100% unconstitutional on where we're at on drugs. It's out of hand anyway.
Yeah.
So the only thing we can do is actually charge them to the full extent of law when they commit crime. Not this plea bargain thing.
Yes, and the slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plea bargain, I have a problem with. You stick to one deal, and if they're convicted constitutionally, which, by the way, our courts are not constitution courts. You have to challenge the jurisdiction of the courts. It's common law constitution, MOT maritime, military tribunal. And the judge here has all three. Do you know which one you're under when you walk in there? With even a speeding ticket? Maritime contract law. Commercial law. Yeah, commerce.
Lovely.
You know why that is? Because your driver's license that you got to renew every so often, you're redoing your contract because new laws has come up. So every so often, like your house rent, you rent, and then they'll reevaluate the contract.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. You are on my list to call here shortly. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Danny. Bye-bye.
I didn't mean to take up all your time.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, what you did is you sacrificed your constitutional rights to enter a contract. That's the reason why if you remember correctly, do you swear to uphold and obey the traffic laws? Yes, I do. You signed a contract.
Yep, you do.
Mm-hmm. Which you entered yourself right then and there into commerce. Even Supreme Court says you cannot force anybody to buy anything. And yet, you got to prove that you have to have your insurance. Aren't you been forced into buying something?
Yes, sir.
If it's illegal, how come they're forcing you to do an illegal act?
That's a good point. Very good point. Very, very good point.
Well, hopefully you appreciate that.
Yes, I do. It's definitely
The enlightenment.
Yes, it's definitely given me some things to definitely think on. So yes.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you, and if there's anything else we can do to point you in the right direction, let us know.
Alrighty, we certainly do. Actually, is there a way to get a copy of that questionnaire?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it could be public records, but.
I doubt it. We didn't file it or anything like that. We have it, so.
Because that was interesting. And hopefully I gave you some interesting answers.
Yes, sir, you did. Okay, come on.
And if I ever run for sheriff, hopefully you'll vote for me.
It's a high possibility that the right things are here.
But yeah, I actually be one of the ones that would be really 100% with the Constitution.
Exactly.
I mean, if the judge not going to operate. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going by Constitution again. Okay? And if you're curious, I even go to your code. Article 6, 4 USC 101. It's got the oath of office that every public official must sign before all other oaths. Without that oath, they are not legally bounded.
Wow.
They have to sign that.
Alrighty.
And nobody does it. I've done FOIA requests on judges and sheriffs and all that.
Yes.
It does not exist.
Oh, wow. That is insane.
So, if you sit and think about it, and by the way, they got to sign that oath with their full legal birth name. Like Donald Trump, it's got to be Donald John Trump.
Oh, wow.
It cannot be Donald J. Trump. It has to be the full legal birth name. If he's a junior, it has to have junior on in. It's got to be on there. Or that oath is not good.
Wow.
So all these oaths that everybody's taking, and see our country, right? They're really not going by the Constitution, but yet they sign an oath, right?
Yeah.
It's because they have not signed the Constitution oath. They've been signing state oaths.
Wow. That's definitely something.
If you ever get a FOIA request, even our sheriffs, I told the sheriff to look up his oath. It's incorrect. It says you uphold the Constitution and the state laws. But where's the state constitution?
True. Very true.
And if you got both of them in there, then which one you go by? They always go by the law.
Yes.
They can't go by the Constitution because they never signed the original Constitution.
Nope. Nope, they didn't.
And I appreciate it. And I like teaching these things.
Yes.
You know, the Supreme Court,
Mm-hmm.
they're not the law of the land. Okay, the abortion thing and all that, it's not the law of the land. There is no such thing as the Supreme Court actually making a ruling. It does not exist. It's opinions. What they had to do when they get something that goes into the Supreme Court, And Supreme Court says, okay, this is unconstitutional. Well, then the lawmakers got to change it. And
Yeah.
then sit back. They don't get to put codes and all that kind of stuff on there. They have to literally go back in, whether they drop it or they change it to fit the Constitution. That's what their job is.
And they definitely aren't doing that.
They definitely aren't doing it. And the funny thing is, their lifetime appointment
Uh-huh.
doesn't exist.
Oh, wow.
According to the Constitution, they do have a lifetime appointment when they actually stay in honor. So, if they're not going by the Constitution, they're operating out of honor. And the Senate can pull them out, fire them, right then and there.
Sounds like it's about time.
Well, the Senate would have to actually talk about it and see what they're going to pull them out.
Yeah.
Like the Bundys, you heard the Bundys thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the judge plainly on record, on film, says there is no room for the Constitution in my court. The Senate was obligated to pull that judge out and have that judge dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, they didn't do it.
Nope. Not at all. They sure did not.
Yep.
Well,
Hopefully you learned something. And,
Yes, sir.
And give you some things to think about, like that tricky one about war on drugs and all that.
Yes.
And even if they do things on drugs, we need to knock the war out.
Yeah, definitely.
Because one more thing before I leave, to give you something to think about. Lincoln said martial law. First time we enacted martial law, right? The Supreme Court, quote, unquote, ruled that is unconstitutional. There is no such thing as martial law. They cannot be martial law in the United States of America. Lincoln ignored it and kept martial law.
Yeah.
And when the war ended, he never signed off on it. So we're still in martial law from the Civil War and World War I, because nobody signed it off that it ever ended, according to their guidelines.
Wow.
You want to know why it's unconstitutional for martial law? Because we had the right to go to war with our government. You cannot form martial law on people that have a right to go after their government. Martial law is a war on the government after you.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
See how they flipped it?
Yep, they sure did.
Give you something to think about on that one too, huh?
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll see you soon.
All right. You don't mind if I pop in every now and then, just kind of shoot the breeze?
You're fine.
All right. Have yourself a good day.
You too, thank you.
Thank you. Hope you guys like that. Diesel for We the People. Bye.